What's up? It's a little 49er Friday afternoon happy hour action. I'm Grant Cohn. I'm joined by Big Face Kev. We'll be here for about the next half hour talking Niners, clearly. But we're going to start off with some news, like we always do, the Dee Ford thing. There's finally been some clarification. Kev, you asked me about it. The question was, is Dee Ford dead? No. And the funny thing is, I think all fans have been looking, all right, well, when we clear this cap space, when we cut Dee Ford, that's $15 million right there. Boom. It's not looking like that's going to be the case.
No.
What Matt Mayoko reported today is that first of all, they can't cut him until he passes a physical. John Lynch already said he's not even sure that he'll be able to pass a physical by the time the season starts. If he's on the roster April 1st, they have to give him $11.6 million. So that's what's going on. What do you think?
But you're saying that they have to give him the 11.6 regardless.
If he's on the roster if he's on the roster April 1, have to give him the 11.6.
They can't get him off the roster unless he passes a physical.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is find out who that guy's lawyer is and hire him if you ever have to have a contract put together, because
that's right.
That's a good deal for D.
Great deal. And you don't really expect Parag Marat to get taken like this. But the way I look at it is the Niners were desperate in 2019. They had two losing seasons, and they made some win-now moves that were a little out of character. And this is one of them. Yeah. Wow, they did not protect themselves.
Yeah. To be fair, though, like I do like the win-now strategy. I always push that. You know, there's a lot of amateur capologists out there. Like, push the boat out. Dee Ford got us to the Super Bowl. We were pretty close to winning it, and I don't regret that. I am surprised to hear, though, that they have to pay him and that basically the guy's just going to rake in the money and I guess he'd retire. Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what a wonderful retirement plan it is, too. I mean, $11.6 million on the way out. Thank you, Jed. No, I bet you Saleh doesn't regret it. It helped him become a head coach. I bet Kyle Shanahan doesn't regret it. It helped him get to the Super Bowl. You know who regrets it? One person. Jed York. You kidding? You think he's looking forward to cutting that check in a month and a half to a guy who may retire 4 months later? Oh, well, that's got to hurt.
You know better than anyone else. Like, is there any chance at all that the guy is actually rehabbing and could come back, or is it just that ship has sailed?
I have no idea. I'm not going to say that he's dogging it. I'm not going to say that he's stealing money from the team. This is the agreement that both parties entered, and God love Dee Ford. Take every dime you can, man, because that's a billionaire you're working with, and they don't really care about you. So I'm sorry. I mean, Niner fans don't want to hear that, but D, do your thing.
I do. Yeah, I always do for the players. I don't know what this obsession is with these 30 billionaires that, like, everyone's all worried about them having to pay out money. Like, oh, these players are out there like they're gladiators putting their bodies on the line, you know, for the rest of their life. So give them the money. Fine.
Right.
Thanks for your service.
It's not like he's like banging his neck against the wall so he can not pass a physical. He can't pass a physical. It's not, she tried to play football.
That would be a story.
I know. I don't think he's like sabotaging himself. I mean, this is just what the injury settlement's all about. So that's what's going on with Dee Ford. The Niners would love to cut him, can't cut him. He's going to be on the team next year, counting $15 million against the cap, and that's going to impact our topics the rest of the afternoon, what we talk about in terms of free agency. Forget that $15 million. It's not coming. So that's very interesting. All right, so now let's move on. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. I just moved it to the bottom. Wait. Okay. A quarterback the Niners can target that no one is talking about. Literally no one. This is a guy that we mentioned last week. It's the guy that we bonded over. He is a very interesting project, and now he's third string again on Indianapolis. What do you think the Niners have to give up to get Jacob Eason, and is he worth it?
I don't know because, I think he's worth it, but I was thinking the Colts had to push the boat out to get their new quarterback. I think they gave up two firsts.
They gave up a third and a conditional second that could turn into a first.
Okay. All right. So Jacob Eason's path is blocked, right? He's done basically at this point. They've got in a young starter. They paid a big price for him. And Eason was a fourth rounder, but the guy has first round talent. I mean, he was the number 1 overall quarterback prospect in the draft in his year. He's from my town.
Coming out of high school,
play a whole bunch. Yeah. His dad was an NFL player.
That's right.
You know, he went to Georgia, and in the SEC, he was, I think, 9-5 his first year, and he did really well.
Freshman,
True freshman, yeah. And I think I showed you that pass he threw against Tennessee to win a game in the last seconds. It went 75 yards in the air on a dart, laser. One of the best throws I've ever seen. I think you probably agree. From there, he got injured, and then Jake Fromm took over. There's no reason he wouldn't have been starting at Georgia and been a first-round pick. He came to Washington. We had a crap team that year, and he slipped to the 4th round. But the guy's got arm talent. He's 6'6". He's 235. And he's on a rookie deal. So and the Colts probably want to get back some picks because they just spent some. I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
I think they got him in the 4th round last year. They might trade him for a 5th. And what I think about Eason is he's a lot like Josh Rosen. I mean, Josh Rosen was the number 1 recruit out of high school, the number 1 quarterback out of high school. Eason was the number 1 quarterback out of high school. Neither one moves that well. Both of them have cannons. But the thing about Eason is it's way stronger than Josh Rosen's arm. It's the Josh Allen level. It's the John Elway level. It's the Matthew Stafford level. I'm not saying he's a project, but he throws that hard.
Yeah.
So of all the people that you're not thinking about, I think Eason is a great option. If you could get him for a 5th, I would be into that. I think he actually has serious upside.
Yeah, I think that, even if they ask for a 4th just to get what their sunk cost is in him, you might be able to do that. And then you got him on a rookie deal, and you have a chance of winning the lottery with him. You really do, because he's got the skills.
Yeah, and if you have him and Josh Rosen in camp competing, one of them should emerge. They're both highly talented, and you put them on this team with this coaching staff and playmakers, it'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm really.
We're still wondering if Josh Rosen can compete, though. Do you think that guy can compete?
I don't know. Who knows? I think it's just worth it to give him some reps in minicamp just to see.
For sure.
Just give him a shot. It doesn't hurt anyone in May. Let's come back to Eason real quick. You said you watched him in high school. Can you explain that a little bit and what your impression of him was back then?
Yeah, I was running a newspaper here in town at the time, and we loved football up here, just like anyone else. So that was a big part of our coverage. So I would be at the game every Friday night, and I saw him play since he was in 6th grade. He'd be up on the field above the stadium, chucking the ball around. His dad's an NFL player, Tony Eason. He made it to camp, I think, but he played at Notre Dame. And so he was out there with Jacob, and Jacob was throwing lasers when he was 12 years old. So I watched him go through that. And then when he came, and Lake Stevens High School is the biggest high school in Washington State. And so it's it's good competition. And so he started as a freshman, and he was super skinny. That's why his handle on Twitter is Skinny QB10, I think. But he grew up into, 6'6", 235, like I said, and he just lasered through the competition. He got an arm like I've never seen. He's a really nice person, and he's dedicated. His teammates loved him, and I followed him through Georgia, and then he came back up to UW, and I saw him play a ton there. I just think that the guy's got a chance. I'm not saying that he's a sure thing, but he shouldn't have been a 4th round pick. His career up to that point was of a 1st rounder. If you're starting at Georgia as a true freshman and you lead them to a bunch of victories in the SEC, that's your resume. He just had some bad luck, and he hasn't had a chance in the NFL yet. So
we both at the time said we liked him better than Jordan Love, who went round 1.
Yes.
And I still feel that way. And then the funny thing about it is look, Justin Herbert ended up being a total baller, and he really improved during his time at Oregon. But we both said it if Herbert and Eason had both gone to Oregon and whenever after high school, Eason would have been the starter.
No question. Yeah, no question.
So that just shows you the type of pedigree he has. That's not everything.
I always like these guys whose dads have played in the NFL or the NBA. Yes. Like your Klay Thompsons, your Steph Currys, right? They come from a lineage of doing that.
Patrick Mahomes.
Raised that way.
Yeah,
exactly. Bloodline. Patrick Mahomes. Jacob Eason is like that.
Yep. Okay. That's interesting. That's all I had to say about him is that he's a hell of a player. He would have been a starter maybe at Oregon, and the thing is, this is what I want to finish off on. So he goes to Washington. It's not worth his time. He leaves after his junior year. A lot of times NFL teams crush a kid who leaves after his junior year unless he's a baller. And what they said is he didn't do well in his meetings. What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
He's kind of like I don't know what it means, but if I had to guess, I'd say he's kind of got like a spur personality. Like he's
so it's like he didn't have the really face calm of a franchise personality kind of thing.
But I can tell you that he was the captain of the team in high school. All the guys loved him, and he doesn't shy away from anything, contact or anything like that. It's not like he's soft. He's just I don't know. He just comes across as somebody who's really easygoing. So maybe I said he's not dumb. I know that. I saw his his transcripts coming out of high school. He ended 3.8 or something like that.
See, this is why I'm into the whole like Moneyball approach at quarterback. People don't want to spend on running backs. I don't want to spend on quarterbacks because there are guys like this out there. Jacob Eason, who people have given up on. What is he, 23? Josh Rosen, totally given up on. Like, really? Wow. Let's give that guy a shot as opposed to trading every single asset in the world for Justin Fields, who would have been Jacob Eason's backup at Georgia.
He was
Jacob Fromm's absence. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Eason beat out Fromm and all those guys. But the other thing is about why he left after his junior year. Remember, he had to sit out for a full year to transfer to UW.
That's right. So you don't want to get too old. Good point.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to another topic. Odds that the Niners trade for Sam Darnold before training camp. I mean, they're probably not going to bring in Eason. The guy who I think Niner fans are more excited about is Sam Darnold because he was a number 3 pick, and the Niners have been, I guess, linked to him. Mike Shanahan has said complimentary things about him on the record in the past. So what do you think? Odds the Niners go get Darnold?
I think that the odds are about 5%, I would say. I just don't see how that works, because what I was going to ask you is, in that scenario, you get him, and then you still have Jimmy, and you have Rosen. You got 3-way competition going on. Is that feasible? Does that make sense?
No,
you got to get one guy.
I like Darnold's fine. I mean, every excuse I've been making for Josh Rosen the last couple of weeks applies to Sam Darnold as well. They're very similar.
Very similar.
Why do you need to bring in another one? You have one.
Yeah.
Why do you need to bring in the second one and then give up draft picks to bring him in? It seems like overkill. I would rather bring in Eason, who would cost you maybe a 4th, than Darnold, who would cost you what, 2 2s at least.
And for what? He hasn't done anything that makes you think that. And if you think back to Pac-12 play, Darnold and Rosen and Eason were all kind of about the same, right? Like, so what? Darnold started for a bad team for a couple of years, and now he's worth 2 still? Why? You have Rosen on your team. It's the same thing.
Exactly. Now, the reason people like Darnold is that, well, he's a little bit more athletic than Rosen. He moves around a little bit more. The way I remember Darnold in college was he played really well as a redshirt freshman in 2016 when he had Juju and Ronald Jones, some serious players on offense. The next year, he was a straight-up turnover machine. Fumbles, interceptions, struggled against Cal, struggled against Washington State, everyone. And that's who he's been in the NFL. I mean, he's basically been the same guy since 2017, and he's still living off this reputation from 2016. I mean, he's a bigger mirage than Jimmy. My opinion.
Ouch.
I mean, this guy, imagine if you could live off your reputation from 2016. Wouldn't life be really easy?
Not sure if that'd be good.
I don't know actually where I was in 2016. Maybe not. So anyway, I don't think the Niners have been linked to Sam Darnold, but I would be very disappointed if they did that. And I don't really think they will. I think they're actually more likely to. I'm not hearing nothing. If I do hear something, I'll let you know. And sometimes I hear stuff, but usually those things find me. I'm not really trying to break news. The thing I would say is I think they're more likely to just draft a quarterback. I think they're just going to draft a guy. And I'm afraid it's Mac Jones.
I think.
I don't hate Mac Jones, but I'm afraid it's going to be
Mac Jones. You know what I think? That, if I'm Kyle, I'm a selfish guy. I'm trying to protect my contract. I'm trying to make my name. I'm trying to climb the ladder up, hierarchy of NFL coaches. I'm not going to mess around with another project unless I'm about to be fired or something, because then it buys you 2 years if you bring in some new guy. I think that he's going to try and do whatever he can to push the boat out to get somebody in so that he can go for the Super Bowl next year while we have a bunch of great players on rookie deals, because with the salary cap crunch, right, it's going to be much tougher. And if you have these guys, the Bosas and the Warners and the Greenlaws and all that kind of stuff on these rookie deals, you have a huge advantage now with the cap coming down. So I think I just see the logic in him trying to do whatever he can to get the best quarterback he can, whoever that may be. And I don't think it'll be a rookie probably, but we should still drop.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Let's talk free agents now. Top 3 free agents you think the Niners should sign in no particular order. Just some names that you think would be perfect for this team.
I think they're all on the team already. I think it's Trent.
Oh, okay. I mean,
out of the whole universe of free agents too. I think that it's Trent, Juice, and Barrett. And keep the rest. Barrett, sorry. Yeah. I mean, I looked through a list of the top 50 or whatever on the Athletic, and I think if they can just keep the guys they have, those are the 3 that you want to hold on to. I don't know. Do you see any targets out there that you like?
Yeah, like lesser names. Cordell Patterson. I like him because I feel like he could be a good backup for Debo. Because when Debo gets hurt, it's a problem. He's so important. Plus, Cordell Patterson might be the best kickoff returner of all time. That guy's amazing. And the Niners have nothing at returner. Nothing. So I'd be cool with him if he's cheap. That's not that exciting, though. Let me give a better name. I think Alex Mack.
Go ahead.
I think Alex Mack, the center, and not just because he's good, but I think the offensive line needs a leader. I think Mike McGlinchey needs tough love from a leader because he ain't one. He's a rah college kind of guy. When things are going good, he's right there. When things are going bad, I'm not that bad. He's not a leader. Trent Williams is not a leader. He's like a Han Solo. I'm doing my thing, which is fine. But someone on that line has to be a leader, and I think it could be Mack. So if they could get him, that would be big because it was Staley forever.
Yeah.
And now it's no one. And by leader, I mean like the dude who like holds you accountable, like the dude who gets in your face. He's like, hey, Mike, you're not playing well enough. Mike, you're 20 pounds underweight. That kind of. I don't think Trent Williams cares enough. He's like, hey, man, that's your problem.
Yeah. And you need that. Right? People don't think about the NFL like a workplace, but like you see what's on the field, but most of the stuff, 80% happens behind the scenes in the locker room and stuff. And you do need, just like in any other workplace, a leader. And I hear that. Yeah. I like the Patterson idea too, because doesn't he play running back sometimes too? He's very much like a switchblade,
He's very much like Debo. He's like the original Debo.
Yeah. So I think that's a good call. And Mack is like 36, right? So he couldn't cost too much.
And he played for Kyle in Atlanta. So there's familiarity.
Yeah.
I think that's a no-brainer. And if the only thing about Trent Williams, I'm not here's the thing. You put him on the list, of course. He's great. But now that Dee Ford's coming back and the salary cap's going to be, the cap space might be a little bit less than the Niners expected. Man, he's so expensive for a guy who doesn't want to lead. I might almost want to go younger at the position. I don't know. I have a plan to get 4 top 10 picks, but outside of that, I don't know. I'm starting to think, instead of bringing back Trent Williams, get Alex Mack and a left tackle who's a little bit, but I don't know who's out there, man. You see what the logic is there. I don't know if the options are there. I think
the logic is there. I remember in the Super Bowl year, we had, we didn't have Staley for a lot of it. And even Brunskill played left tackle, didn't he?
He did. And you can make the argument that Weston Richburg was kind of there the first 3 quarters of the season, and a good center could kind of be the glue that line needs, maybe, because the centers they had this year were trash.
Yeah, they weren't even centers. They were just guys who snapped the ball.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. So if they could get Patterson and they could get Mack, that'd be a real good start. They need some veteran leadership, and with Patterson would be the veteran leader for the special teams. And the Niners got to address special teams. It's almost like they forget about it. They just want guys who who do this with their arms and let the ball go over the head and then make fair catches. You can do more. There's more.
Yeah. Well, we stole Mostert from special teams. It just wasn't fair, really. We got this guy saying that we should get Richie Incognito to be a leader on the team. Good call.
That's hilarious. Hey, Richie, we need you to toughen up Jonathan Martin. Okay, coach, I got this. Not like that, Richie. Not like that. All right. Final topic, and I like this one because, God, talk about veteran leadership. Talk about a guy that would be perfect in the locker room. Alex Smith. If he gets cut, would he be willing to play for a cheap contract like Frank Gore is willing to? Could you get like a full-blown 2005 49ers reunion? I think everyone would love to see it. And I think most people are kind of into the Frank Gore idea because veteran minimum deal, he's a running back. Why not? Just go ahead.
Yeah.
But Alex Smith, he doesn't have Gore's durability, and he's probably going to be more expensive because when he plays, he freaking wins. I still think he has value to teams. So what do you think, man? What would you do?
Well, I'll give Gore a contract, but it's a 1-day contract, and then we hang up his jersey. He doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't fit the Shanahan style. He can't do the stretch. I don't think. I love the guy to death. He's awesome, but he gets a contract just for that day. As far as Smith, that's interesting because I've read that they're going to cut him, and if he's healthy, and he came all the way back and everything he could be, he has family. I think he lives in San Mateo, from what I understand. That's where his wife lives.
Yes.
He's a Niner legend. He did win all the time. And if he's healthy, that's the kind of guy that I could see making sense because he'd be cheap and we could fill out the rest of the roster. And because Kyle might be able to trust him as somebody who could, possibly take you all the way as opposed to a project or, some third-rate dude that you're bringing in. What a great story it would be too.
I think so too. And I was against it when you at first, like, he's just another injury prone guy. Can't do that. Can't do that.
Right.
But hold on. Let's think about this pragmatically. Instead of in a vacuum, what are the options here? Alex Smith as a bridge or Jimmy Garoppolo as a bridge? I mean, who's going to play more games next year? Your guess is as good as mine. Honestly, who do you think will play more games next year? Alex Smith or Jimmy G? I don't know.
Probably Alex.
I know that Alex Smith will be cheaper.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on the way that the season ended for Jimmy and the way that he was, practicing and possibly could have come back. I just see the tea leaves in that it just does not seem likely to me at all that he's going to be our starting quarterback. I don't know. That's just reading the mood of it. And like what Kyle said at the end, I feel like he lost the team, lost the locker room with that when Kittle came back and did what he did. And Jimmy sitting up there BSing with Richard, in the press box.
I think there's something to that. I think there's something to that. No one really wants to say it, but it was a bad look. You're practicing. Yeah. You're letting it rip. There's video footage. The Niners are broadcasting you practicing, and you won't go back out and play, which is, it's just quarterback. You don't have to run. How many quarterbacks have you seen hobble around the field? But hey, man, as long as I can, tape it up or do whatever, I'm going to be out there. He's like,
Steve Young saw him do it.
I'm just not 100%. What do you mean you're not 100%? No one's 100%. What do you mean you're not 100%? I'm with you on that. If I were a player on that team and like Jimmy Ward, who got a concussion, came back, played week 17, didn't have to. George Kittle, everyone is doing this for what? For the organization, to be professional. And then you look at the highest paid player on the team, you're like, oh, it still hurts, huh? Still hurts.
Yeah, he should have a talk with Ronnie.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, what? So, I don't know that he's necessary. The whole locker room has his back the way they might have a few years ago. I'm sure they say nice things, but it's different to if he's gone, like, well, maybe we'll have a guy who really wants to play now. And the thing about Alex Smith is you can't question that about him.
No,
he could have retired. He could have lost his leg. He fought all the way back to come back. You cannot question that about him. And he's just as much of a winner as Jimmy Garoppolo. He's got to be more mobile than Jimmy Garoppolo is. He's got to throw the ball better than Jimmy Garoppolo does. I'm not against it. It depends on the price. I wouldn't give him $15 million, but if it was like $7 for a year, I'm down. Because you're figuring look, you're going to draft a quarterback. He's going to be playing halfway through the year when Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt again. So why not just go with Alex Smith in that case? What's the difference? Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's cool, but he doesn't have the same tie to the Niners like Alex Smith does. It's intriguing, but only if Joe Staley comes back too. Joe, you got to come back.
Gosh.
And Gore. Joe, no, that's the thing. I bet Joe Staley weighs like 220.
Yeah, probably. I got the ultimate back. Lead right into it. Break the internet. Colin Kaepernick. Imagine the story.
Jeez. If I were Colin Kaepernick, I'd be laughing still because I'd be looking at the Niners and be like, you still haven't replaced me. You still haven't replaced me. Yeah. You don't want me, but I'd still be the best quarterback on that team. That's how I'd feel. And
I also think that the Niners were the only team that actually backed him. The only team that supported him when he did his protest. People act like we got rid of him. No, his contract ended. He played that whole season. I think that if I were him, I would think the Niners are the only team out of the whole NFL that I would consider, going back to. But that's not going to happen. We all know that. It's fun to think about.
Yeah, and the fact that he's been away from the sport for so long, he says he still works out. I'd like to see. I know that Alex Smith played last year. So even though Alex Smith is older and has like a reconstructed leg, I think he's probably a better quarterback. And, I think it's possible that he always was a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick came on quickly. But as we see with Jimmy, that first 2 years for a starter, the league's figuring you out. The book isn't out on you yet. And if you can make it through all that and still be great in year 4, 5, 6, then you're the truth. And he never got there. The defensive coordinators figured him out to an extent, and he fell apart. Alex Smith made it through that, and he's in year 15. That's all I'm saying.
38, yeah.
Look at Jimmy.
Let me ask you.
He was great until people figured him out. That's all I'm saying.
And he's great if he can play. Availability is one of the best abilities, as they say. But let me just ask you this real quick. If you had to just make one choice to get whoever you wanted. You're the QC. Who's the QB next year? Like in trades, drafts, whatever. What are you doing?
Okay. I'm getting rid of Jimmy. I'm trading him for whatever. The Carson Wentz package or a little less. I'll just move on. I'm sticking with Rosen. I'm drafting a quarterback, Kellen Mond. That's my guy. I'm re-signing Mullins as 3, and I'm bringing in a 4th guy. I like Alex Smith. I'm cool with that. Alex Smith.
You like Mond
Andy
better
Dalton.
than Trask, huh? Sorry.
I thought
it was Trask. Now it's Mond?
I like them both very much. I think Trask is going to go higher than Mond. I think Mond you can get a little later. But the thing that I like about Mond is he really didn't play with Kyle Pitts or Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. I mean, he didn't. And when you go back and look at Dak Prescott's, teams that he was on, he was not playing with NFL players. And that's part of the reason why people missed on him, is because you look at him at Mississippi State and it's like, well, your highlights aren't that great. I mean, your accomplishments are cool. Like, you're winning and it's all, but like, well, who am I throwing? There's no Mike Evans here. There's no Julio Jones here. And then he goes to the Cowboys and has Des Bryant and Ezekiel Elliott. It's like, oh, right. Of course. I think there could be a little bit of that with Mond. I'm not saying he's as good as Dak, because Dak is amazing, but maybe just a little bit less similar. I compared him to Marcus Mariota.
Okay.
Compared to Marcus Mariota because the arm, Mariota never had a big arm, and they're kind of dual threat guy. Mariota-ish a little bit. Mariota. I don't know.
I like that.
So and then Alex Smith, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. He's a leader. He's much more of a leader than Jimmy Garoppolo, in the sense that he is one and Jimmy's not one. That's the sense. So I like.
He doesn't have a Levi's commercial though.
He could.
You got to pass this up the chain when you get in your QC meeting. Just pass that stuff up the chain, because I think these are better ideas. We got to win next year.
This was definitely your best show yet, big face Cam. This was your best show yet. This was a strong show.
Got to improve. Watch tape.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just need reps. The first couple of times you're like, dang, I'm on TV. Then you're just like, oh yeah, I'm talking on the phone like I always do. Alex Smith. It's good to re-examine that. I mean, Alex Smith versus Jimmy Garoppolo. Every 49er fan should think about that one deep down, very hard all weekend. Is Jimmy Garoppolo really better than Alex Smith? Is he? I don't know. Is he more durable than Alex Smith? I don't know. Does he like football more than Alex Smith? I don't know. I'm into it. I actually kind of like it. What about Taylor Heineke?
Yeah.
No, he can't get Taylor. He's too good. They're not letting him go.
Yeah.
All right.
Jimmy's got him by jawline, but that's about it, I think.
I know. Last thing before we go, I really feel Nick Mullins, if you're watching, grow a beard. The big Ryan Fitzpatrick beard. I think that'll help. I almost feel like if you're one of these backup types who was undrafted or late pick, you have to have a shtick.
Yeah.
You have to have a shtick.
Like a closer.
Look at Fitzpatrick.
Like
look at Minshew.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. You need a shtick. So I don't know what it is, because they look at the first round picks as just like these alpha males. Like, dude, Sam Darnold. Even he could be terrible for 5 years. You got it. Like Jameis Winston too. Nick Mullins, dude. No, you need a beard, big one, big beard. Try it out.
If you told him that before the season, he wouldn't be having Tommy John right now, because he would have fought right through that with a beard.
He's not having Tommy John, so maybe I did tell him.
He's not? Okay.
It's not that bad.
Good.
All right, man. Well, let's do this again next week. Let's do this again next week. And in a few weeks, we're going to do it on your YouTube channel, which is yet to exist. But we're projecting in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you, Grant. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate you too, man. Thanks everyone for watching.
Take care.